There's a lot of video games out there. Some are really good, some not so much. With so many video games being developed these days, it's only proper that just every so once in a while, we get a perfect 10 out of 10. So today I want to share with you 9 10 out of 10 video games that I think everybody should play. This is my own personal list and it's okay to disagree with it, but I'd like to think that at the very least, people will find these games to be at least good. Go ahead and drop your perfect games down below as we get started.
What's up? Can a low come up in your crib?
Man, fuck you. I'll see you at work.
Grand Theft Auto will always be good. No matter like how mid it is, it's always going to be at least good. And GTA 5 continued the success that the Grand Theft Auto franchise was having and literally perfected it. This is a perfect game. I don't care what anyone says. GTA 5 is like perfection. It's a major piece of pop culture. I mean, your parents definitely know what this game is. It's the one game that like you're not supposed to let your kids play. Like, they know there's some raunchy stuff going on in this game that, like, no kid should play, but, like, you're gonna find your way to get your hands on it. The way I got GTA 5 was I lobbed 60 bucks to one of the homies whose parents didn't care, and they just bought 2. But then when I got it, obviously I had to be really sneaky. You know, I couldn't just have, like, the Kate Upton loading screen on when my parents are walking in to, like, check on my brother or something. And then on top of that, I had to hide, like, the physical game, because, like, where my 360 was just, like, in the living room. You know that little, like, unfinished closet you had in your basement? That's what I hid mine in. Yeah, this little, like, fuzzy cotton candy stuff, that was my vault for GTA 5 on the 360. Anyways, aside from the gameplay being great, this is just all around one of the greatest engines for gaming. Specifically, the driving on its own is better than most racing games, and it's just the textbook standard for when you're playing a game that involves driving. You're like, is it as good as GTA? No, because it never will be. Shooting and the combat is very simple, which I think is great. It doesn't need to be like a mill sim. It just needs to be very casual because this game appeals to just the casuals. And that's not a bad thing. You can totally absolutely no life the online segment of this game. I mean, there is just like an absolute grind going on there that goes way beyond the casual play. But then you've got the writing. Taking the 3 characters and giving them their own little stories that intertwine and then unfold to create like this one grand story is really creative. But also talking about writing, I want to talk about the dialogue specifically, like just like the little conversations NPCs have.
All right, so we take senior citizens, really fucking poor ones, and put them through law school. I don't need you to tell me it's a good idea. I know it is.
Oh, just on my way to my man's house. I'm gonna surprise him because I need some sex, okay?
Look, Tina, I gotta go. Don't let the baby crawl out into the backyard, okay?
You know what a BBW is? Me. A big, beautiful woman.
I mean, this is just an absolute goldmine of comedy. I mean, they buy into so many stereotypes of different walks of life, and like poke fun at just the right amount of things. I mean, this game gave us the epic Rumar Roast Franklin bit, which has been memed to absolute high hell.
Maybe if you got rid of that Sonic 06 NPC looking haircut, you might get some uwu. Oh, better yet, maybe Rouge will call your sorry butt if she ever stops playing with Knuckles' Emerald, if you know what I mean. Sega!
What?
To round off an already amazing game, you have the online experience, which can literally just keep you glued to your computer for hours. I mean, there are people who have been playing this game since launch and have no signs of stopping just because they're always adding something fresh. Honestly, in my opinion, they're adding a little bit too much because that for sure, I don't care what anyone says, that has to have like halted GTA 6 development in some way because of the success of GTA Online. And then you've also got the modding community, which, I mean, you've seen the RP servers. I mean, they're just absolutely wild. The amount of like encounters you can have with people and just like very authentic gameplay is hilarious, and like the level builders are crazy. I mean, there is just like so much to do with this game, hence why I think it is perfect and arguably one of the greatest games of all time. I think this game will like stand the test of time for sure. GTA 6 has really big shoes to fill, and I really hope they can do it because I don't know how the hell they top GTA 5.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
What I like about Far Cry 3 is how relatable it is. I mean, I remember the last few times I burned down a marijuana farm in the uncharted islands in the Bahamas. Joking, but what I really mean by that is imagine like you're on vacation with the homies and then you get kidnapped by really bad people in like uncharted territory. That is Far Cry 3. What I really like about this game is it wastes absolutely no time just throwing you into the mix. There's no real context about who you're on vacation with. You're just like captured immediately and it's like, all right, get yourself out of this. And to me, this is one of the best first missions in every game. It tells you exactly everything you need to know about this game right at once, and then the second mission introduced like the perk leveling up and whatnot. Stealth is really cool in this game. You can also go guns a-blazing, but like the abilities you get make you want to play the game more because you get teased. You'll see what you're going to unlock next and it'll be like, a double knockout or something, which just like completely changes the game. Like I said, I think the story is kind of relatable because it kind of makes you think like, oh, what if I had to go like save all the homies on a deserted island? Like, that's pretty cool. And then Voss in this game is truly iconic and like Oscar nominated performance in my opinion. I don't even know who the guy is. I think he's from Breaking Bad. But there are tons of side quests to do, and also the time trials are like really fun. You can always go for like a high score. If you want 100% this game, I mean, like, it is very much so open to do so. Once again, the hunting is also really good in this game. There's a lot of like exclusive craftables to get, and also the outposts are really satisfying. I mean, there is just like it does the perfect job of like hitting between like really like in depth, but not too tedious. Like, you're not going to be like hating your life doing this. You're not doing it just because you have to. You want to do it. You do it because you want to. And for whatever reason, they decided to add a sandbox mode to this game, and it just works. I genuinely have no idea what DMT Ubisoft got together and smoked and was like, yeah, let's put this whole entire like play God simulator in Far Cry. This means like all the animals, cars, and buildings are just there to create whatever the hell you want. I know my biggest thing was like doing like animal death matches. That was really fun. And then making a big hole and shooting everyone in it. I don't know. It was just crazy what you could do. And in a game like this that doesn't really need this, but you play it and it's like, oh, this is just like an extra amazing thing about this game for no reason. And I actually replayed this game fairly recently and it still holds up. I mean, everything about this game is great. And then there's also Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which I'm going to keep separate from this video. But that is just like another thing that's just like, what the hell are they smoking when they make this? But it's also just really good. It gives me Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare vibes in that it is just one of the most random like alternative universes for this game, which is really cool. The Halo franchise is a little tricky. You've got a ton of great games, but I really only think one is truly perfect, and that is Halo 3. This game's gunplay is very arcadey and well made, and also like with all the sci-fi guns makes for some of the craziest encounters in first-person shooter, and just like the right amount of like slow pace and fast-paced. Like, you can get by with like camping. You don't have to be like an absolute sweat to do good in this game, which I love. And I want to go ahead and talk about campaign right now, which follows up Halo 2's really good campaign and creates like very devastatingly emotional moments. But what makes this game perfect and puts it ahead of all other Halo games has to be the introduction of Forge. I don't think they knew what they were doing when they created Forge, but Forge mode seriously is like another game entirely, and this is in 2007. And also, I think this was like one of, if not the first, like sandbox mode in any game at the time that was like mainstream. And with so many guns, structures, and vehicles, like the community went so hard for absolutely no reason. If you played this game at launch, you know that there's so many good times we had with custom games. Fat Kid, Jenga, Super Happy Fun Slide, and Race are all just like absolute classic game modes. Hell, Halo Reach even added a dedicated race mode because of the Daytona 500s people were making in Halo 3. Since this game's multiplayer was fire, it was already very replayable, but then having custom games with like community playlists that people would like upload on the computer, and you could then like log into your Microsoft account and add it to your play. I forgot how it existed. I remember I had to get on the computer to like get it on my console, which was way ahead of its time for 2007. I mean, this just made it so much even more replayable than it already was. And also, like I said before, I do not care about graphics, but I will always give credit where credit is due. And this is some of the most beautiful graphics on the 360, even like the games that came out in like 2011 and 2012. 2007 Halo 3 graphics were peak and just like way ahead of any other game at the time.
You're finally awake.
This is one of those games when I was playing for the first time, I knew it was going to be an instant classic. Although most people enjoy Oblivion, Skyrim took RPGs to the next level and somehow appealed to one of the like widest demographics in gaming history. I mean, seriously, anyone who was born in like 2004 or earlier knows what Skyrim is. Anyways, enough about this game's achievement. Skyrim creates this crazy world that you wish you could live in that was really immersive. I personally remember playing Skyrim in the winter break of 2011 and non-stop eating a tub of cookie dough I got in my Christmas stocking that year. And 13-year-old me had never touched an RPG before, but this game does a great job like holding your hand through the mechanics, but doesn't like quite give everything to you. But then once you understand it, you then have the power to just completely break the game, which is really satisfying. If my stupid ass dumb 13-year-old brain can understand it, then I promise you anyone who has not played this game can also handle it. And this game has so much to offer. I feel like every playthrough I have, I find something new. And even with the DLC, Dawnguard threw vampires into the mix, which just fits the vibe vibe really well. And then Dragonborn gave us an entire new area being Solstein, which I really like to explore. Unfortunately, the closest thing we've got to Elder Scrolls 6 is Skyrim on your smart fridge, and it's looking like we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer than we wanted for Bethesda to start cooking. If a time traveler showed up to my door and asked for proof that we were in the year 2024, I would just hand him a copy of Red Dead 2. And this game came out in 2018, mind you. Rockstar is no stranger to perfect games, so Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those games that everyone unanimously agrees is like one of the greatest video games ever made. I'm actually in the middle of a replay of this game on my PC, and I haven't played it since it came out on the Xbox One in like 2018. And let me just take a second to say I do not care about graphics, but this is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Hell yeah. When I played this back in 2018 on my 2013 Xbox One, it was a perfect game, and playing it in 2025 reaffirmed it as a perfect game and cemented it as one of the greatest games ever made. Yeah, we went there. When you load up a game with a specific objective like completing a certain mission or maybe like a small little task, only to get distracted by something else, you know you're playing a really good open world game. This is also some of the best writing, storytelling, and character development in a game. You have those characters that you hate to love and the other characters you love to hate. There's just a lot going on here. This game does a good job making you feel like an outlaw on the run, and also gives you like a lot of opportunities to be just like an evil person.
I drew you a picture. It's by your...
Thanks, kid.
And aside from the main quest, there's plenty of side quests to keep you busy, most notably the hunting. I really enjoyed the hunting in this game. Like another game of its own. There's a lot of like 100%ing to be done here to get all the craftables, and hunting is like one of those that'll keep you very occupied. And there's also like all the challenges. I know like the 100% grinders are really dedicated to this game. I'm not one of those people, but I do enjoy like small little challenges here and there. The FPS genre of gaming is definitely one of the most oversaturated markets. Hence why games like X-Defiant are dead. Anyways, in a time where the genre was getting very stale, Doom Eternal gave a fresh experience for every single FPS lover out there. Playing Doom is like taking a concoction filled with like Adderall, G Fuel, and cocaine, and Eternal takes like all the great things about Doom and smushes it into one really good game. And with most linear games like this, there's not much replayability, but there's like just the right amount of collectibles and like backtracking to do that really makes you want 100% this game. And it's really difficult. I think a lot of people like in games, they'll just find like one gun or tactic to carry them through the entire game. But Doom Eternal makes the player like use a combination of their entire arsenal, because like there's like weakness types and like ammo lacking, like there's so much going on. And with plenty of guns to unlock and abilities to upgrade, the player's constantly getting stronger while the game's also getting more difficult. Like you really have to use these new abilities and guns you get, or you will not beat the game. And also, if you're new to mouse and keyboard or like PC, this is such a good game to get your feet wet and really get used to like how a mouse and keyboard are supposed to be used, just because you're playing against AI versus like a lot of FPSs rely on PvP, which can be very frustrating. And also, this game's soundtrack is insane. It fits the vibe so well, and if you like metal or like workout music, I mean, this whole game has you covered. All right, you knew that there was going to be a Legend of Zelda game on this list, and to be fair, I think pretty much any of the 3D Legend of Zeldas can make it on this list. But Wind Waker, more specifically Wind Waker HD, is one of the most perfect games I've ever played in my life. Every single Zelda game has at least one segment of the game that every single player hates. For Ocarina of Time, it's the entirety of the Water Temple. For Twilight Princess, you have those teardrop wisps, and honestly, like the entire prologue. And for Wind Waker, you have the stupid Triforce shards at the very end of the game. Well, that was the only blemish for Wind Waker, in my opinion, and then Wind Waker HD nullified all of it. Yes, that's right, they took out this segment entirely. It's like way more expedited and seamless, therefore turning this game into like a 9.9 into a 10. On top of this, the remake brings the Swift Sail, which makes the traveling way more seamless and quick from island to island. And I know a lot of people like did not like this game at launch because of the art style, which I never really had a problem with. I think the people complaining about the art style are probably the same people making fun of anime in 2025. Great boss fights, one of the more compelling stories also that gets like way more personal, and gives us one of, if not the greatest Legend of Zelda world to explore. And look, I want to make one thing clear. I love Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and I know that's a lot of people's favorites these days, but I think Wind Waker lays the ground of like what a true Legend of Zelda game should be like. And I also think it'd be a little corny if I picked more than one game from the same franchise on this list.
Hey, Doc, how about a little food? Sorry.
The Telltale games don't really do much for the gameplay department and more so just focus on raw storytelling and decision making. And to me, some games have really good gameplay, but then like the story sucks or vice versa, and this one just really hits the storytelling great. For those of you that don't know what these games are like, first of all, I'm very sorry, but if you've ever watched like that Netflix Black Mirror Bandersnatch, that is pretty much what these Telltale games are. But Telltale's Walking Dead tells a story that's very gloomy and honestly like really depressing at times, and does not really rely on like the TV show's popularity to be a good game, whereas like a lot of games like so are heavily carried by the IP it's on. I watched Walking Dead probably like a lot of you, and then I enjoyed it until, well, like I just didn't, like probably like the same way you did.
I know what kind of man you are.
But for all I know, this game doesn't even exist in the Walking Dead universe. You could call this game Zombie Decision Making Simulator, and it would literally still be a great game. That's how great this story is. You're left with a bunch of tough decisions to make that can result in other people's deaths, and sometimes even your own. You're constantly getting like small little reveals about people's past that makes them like maybe not as good a person as you thought they were. And it's honestly kind of like a mini drama. And then sometimes there just isn't a right decision. Like you just have to like make that sacrifice over something else, which always sucks, but in like a good way. I don't know. And there are some really sad parts in this game, and I don't want to get into any spoilers, but this like is a very emotional roller coaster towards the end specifically.
You know how to pick a lock, right?
No. Why would you say that?
Well, you're, you know, urban?
This game is literal therapy. Minecraft is an amazing feat in video games and accomplished way more than being a good game. It has a beautiful charm to it where it gives you all the tools, literally, to create whatever the hell you want. Playing this game on the 360 back in 2012, only to see this game blossom into what it is today, is one of the most like beautiful evolutions in gaming. You can grind all you want in your little village and maybe get like a decent stockpile of resources, only to pull up to your family Thanksgiving and check out your 7-year-old's cousin's world on his little iPad and realize you stand no chance to the absolute savants of this game. And if mining resources, fighting for your life, or like just a literal health bar is too stressful for you, then there's creative mode, which truly like the sky is the limit in here. I mean, especially with Redstone, I mean, I don't even know what the hell this is. I mean, people just make like the craziest stuff. Like seriously, if someone wants to explain what the hell is going on here, please tell me. And to cap this game off, it has one of the craziest mod communities ever, and like Mojang just really like handed over the keys to the community to create like whatever they want. But Minecraft is just like probably one of the, if not the most influential game of like my generation, in my opinion. But those are 9, 10 out of 10 games that I think everyone should play at least once. And as a safety net, I'm going to go ahead and say I've not played every game out there. So if you think there's something that should have been on this list or shouldn't have been on this list, go ahead and let me know down below. And honestly, there's a lot of games out there that I wanted to put on the list, enough to like maybe even make a part 2. So that's something you're interested in, please let me know down below. But if you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And thank you so much for watching.